Okay, today I'm sharing a little bit about morning time. And if you read homeschool blogs or homeschool books, you'll see people write about morning time and circle time or morning basket. And it just sounds like this really wonderful time of learning together, this collective learning. It sounds really snuggly and wonderful with all these great books and resources. And it's something that I have always wanted in my homeschool, but it has never come together for me in previous years. For whatever reason, we have just completely failed at having any type of group school time, any type of morning time. It's always been a complete disaster. And so every year I just keep trying and trying. I try new things and I tweak it and I just try anything to find a way to have this really wonderful, relaxing morning time that everyone else seems to have, but I have never been able to achieve. And finally, this past school year, after many years of trying, we had morning time almost every day of our school year. And I found I really enjoyed that time. It was such a effective, efficient way to school, especially if you have a large family. You can get a lot of things done in a really short amount of time when everyone is there listening, working at their own levels. It really saved us a lot of time in our homeschool, and it was a really fun way to start our day all together. So I'm going to share some of the tips that I discovered during our morning time this year, some things that really helped it come together, and kind of how we made it work for us. So we do our morning time after breakfast, and we all come together and we do some Bible reading. We read history. That's a time where we read a lot of science. We have lots of great discussions. We've read literature books and had literature discussions. We read some apologetics books. We also add in some extra things like talking about finances or etiquette or other life skills that just kind of don't fit well into other subjects. We've also done logic during our morning time and worked on logic exercises and questions together. So it's just kind of a fun time to hit some of the subjects that work well as a group, like history and science. And it's also a great time to kind of add in some fun extras that really don't fit in anywhere else in our school day. So here are some things that have really helped us have morning time. One is to have snacks. For my little ones, they need something to do, and if they're putting things in their mouth, things that are approved to go into their mouth, like a snack, then they're not talking over me, they're not yelling or screaming or fighting, and they're usually able to sit still for a little bit longer. So snacks has been a really big key to our morning time. It's usually a cup of dry cereal that is easy to clean up if they spill it. So I try to keep it really simple. But that's what has really helped with my little people during morning time. They sometimes don't stay the whole time. They wander off, which is fine if they want to go play, but they will often stay with us for quite some time as long as they have a snack. And then the other thing is I have quiet activities for my kids, whether it's foam blocks or drawing and coloring. They like to doodle on personal whiteboards. I give them different colored markers and they draw, but it really helps if their hands are busy, then they will sit still for longer. I have also learned that we cannot start our morning time directly after breakfast. Breakfast, they've been sitting there. We've been working on their Bible verses and some memory work, and they are not ready to go sit somewhere else or even continue sitting there and having a morning time. They don't want to sit at the table anymore. They're not comfortable anymore, and they're not ready to hop upstairs to the homeschool room and sit some more. So we, after breakfast, break up our day a little bit, and we have a chore time right there after breakfast where they can be active and they can do some chores like some laundry and dishes and help me pick up and carry things to different rooms of the house so that they are doing something a little more active before they go sit again. So it really is helpful to make sure that they've had some time to burn off energy. And then if I find that they are not able to do their quiet activities well, there are times that we just practice sitting. And I know it sounds really not fun, but there are times where you just need to learn to be still. And so if my kids cannot color or draw on the whiteboards without arguing over the markers and the erasers or throwing them at each other, I take everything away and I will just put them all in a circle or a line and they just have to sit for a while. And I think it's a really important skill to learn to just be still and to be paying attention, be aware of what's going on and just be really attentive. So there are times where there is nothing in their hands and they've learned just to sit and be still and just enjoy that time of listening because that is a very important skill to learn. The other thing that I've learned is I need to choose things that I'm excited about. So I need to pick books that I'm looking forward to reading. There are books that we've gotten started reading that I decided I didn't enjoy, and we just put them aside, and I chose something else. And so I have quit on books in morning time because I'm not going to use something I'm not excited about, because then I don't look forward to morning time, and then I am more inclined to skip it. So I try to really look through the resources beforehand and make sure it's something that I'm going to really enjoy doing with my kids, a book that I'm excited to read with them, or a topic that I really want to discuss with them. And that keeps us all really excited about morning time. I've also found that we need to have a comfy place for morning time. I know a lot of people do it around the kitchen table, and they read books and they do all kinds of projects at their table. But my kids do not want to sit at the table, on the benches, on the chairs. It's not comfortable for them. They like to be laid out on the floor or curled up in a blanket, sitting on the floor, and that's how they prefer to listen and have morning time. So I've just given up on having this wonderful spread and array of curriculum and books and resources on the table that we can engage with, and we just hang out on the floor. And that works for us, and they like to be comfy. They bring their blankets, and that has worked really, really well. I also try to vary our activities. So it's not just me reading to them the whole time. There are times where we have discussions. There are times where we listen to music, or we look at art, or they even draw some things. I have also thrown spelling, and we do some copy work and dictation during that time so that they are doing some things. They're writing, and I'm giving them spelling words, or we're having a discussion. We also draw the different continents and countries, and so they are doing active things. So I try to go back and forth between a time where I'm reading to them and a time where they are doing something more active, where they can draw or write or copy something. And that really helps break up our morning time, where it's not just them sitting and listening to things. It has more variety. So I try to plan out the resources so that I go back and forth between more passive listening and then something more active where they can copy or write. I've also learned that I just have to lower my expectations. I've seen all the wonderful posts on Instagram of all of the people who have these great morning times, and mine does not look like that. Mine is usually still somewhat of a mess. My kids are rolling on the floor multiple times. I have to stop what I'm doing and remind them that they need to sit up or sit still or not hit their sibling or not throw something. And it's just, I've had to lower those expectations and know that it's not going to be a perfect time, but it is a time of all of us being together, building relationships, learning together, and it's a time that we can all look forward to, because I have just learned to let go of some things. And so I am a lot less frustrated when morning time is not quite perfect. And you will have a lot of interruptions, and you really have to learn to be patient with those, especially if you have little ones. I can't tell you how many times we've had to stop for diaper emergencies or bathroom emergencies, or something gets spilled, water gets knocked over. There's been times where we've just had to quit morning time because we've had a huge cleanup or big accident. And so there's just a lot of interruptions. So even though we've had good intentions and we've tried to do a morning time, that doesn't mean that we finished it for that day. We may just have to pick it up again the next day because things are just not going well, or my kids are not getting along. And I just have to stop all of our morning time, and we just end up having discussions about attitude and character, which is really important. And it's much more important to stop and focus on those things than to try to press forward with any curriculum. But it's still, as the planner and perfectionist that I am, it's really hard to accept those interruptions and learn to be flexible with them. I have found that we need to have a start time for our morning time. So we have a set amount of time for our chore time, and then morning time starts at a specific time, so that my kids kind of know when they need to be done with those chores, when they need to complete things, and when they need to be upstairs and ready to start our day. So it's really important for all of us to kind of have that target start time. Doesn't always happen, but it's been really helpful to have something that we're aiming for as a start time. I used to try to do morning time after lunch. We were all super sleepy, and I would often fall asleep reading to my kids. And so I'd be on the couch or in a chair asleep, and they would all just kind of scatter and disperse throughout the house, and there was our afternoon morning time. It was gone. So I have learned that we really need to do it first, especially for my older ones, because they have things that they want to work on. They don't want to be interrupted later in their day once they've gotten started on their independent work, and then be brought back in to have a group school time. So we do it first so that when we are done, they can go work on the things that they need to work on. So that has been really helpful, just to make sure that we do it first, even though it's not nap time for my little ones. I thought somehow it would be easier during nap time in the afternoon, but it really wasn't for us. doing it first thing before we do our other formal learning has been key for us. And then I really just learned to prioritize it. Once we got into a groove with morning time and I found how efficient it was to do a lot of our history and our spelling and science all at the same time, I started making it more of a priority in our day because I could see how well it can work. And so I just really tried to prioritize that time in our homeschool so that we can save time by doing morning time. So those are several of my morning time tips that I found have really helped me be successful with our group school time. And it's very efficient, especially if you have a large family. It is really great to have that time where you all come together and learn together. So hopefully that will help you if you are trying to plan morning time or if you've tried in the past and failed. Those might be some great tips to help you finally get it started this school year. So you can find more tips down below. I have other videos about our crazy homeschool. And then you can also subscribe so that you don't miss any of the new videos.